it's Mambo and welcome back to another video. Today I'm starting up a brand new series on my channel and it's going to be Java game design. So I'm just going to start off with creating a new project in Intellij and next create, and we'll use the command line application and we'll call it Java game tutorial, and we'll put it in the package of com.loopboolean. Actually, no, we'll not. We'll put it in dev.mambo. We'll call it tut. Yeah. Now dev.mambo.java. That's good enough for now. All right. So it's gonna load up the project and we're in. So I do expect you to have some basic Java knowledge because it will be kind of confusing if you don't. I will explain everything, but it is going to make it harder to understand. So this is just gonna this is the default package, the default over here, the default package and the main class that it generated for me, and I'm gonna create a new package, which basically is just a folder, just a fancy name for a folder, and I'm gonna call this one graphics. And this is just gonna store all the graphics related classes, which if you don't know the classes, which you probably should, it's just basically to group a file that groups related code into one kind of file, and then it's a bit more complicated than that, but anyway, we'll call this one frame, because this is going to where we're going to start off our frame. And basically in Java, a Windows, which is this one right here, is called a frame. So it's pretty simple to make a frame. The first thing I'm going to do is just create a constructor for this, which is basically going to get called whenever a new instance of this class is created, and you just create that by calling the new frame. So I'll do that in a second. So constructor, that's alt insert on Windows to just generate this code. I think you can go up to code and then generate, and it does the same thing. In here, I'm just going to I'm going to go up here and create a private, which means that this class is the only class that can access this variable or field. We're going to make it static, and that basically means that it is a kind of a variable it's not instance dependent, and we'll call, and it's going to be a JFrame, which is a Java frame. So it's going to be JFrame. We'll call it F, and we're going to set it equal to a new JFrame. And you can see right here, this is actually calling the Java frame or JFrame constructor, which is a base library for Java, but that's basically what this is right here. So we're now going to go, okay. Now what we're going to do is create some things in here. We're just going to create what's called a dimension, and we'll set it equal to, call it D, and set it equal to a new dimension. And what we're going to do here is we're just going to create some variables. We'll call it private. We'll just call it float. In this case, float, because I want to keep everything kind of everything similar. And a float is just a decimal point. You could use double too, but it's just a longer. It has a longer decimal point accuracy, but I don't need that much for this. I didn't even need anything. I just want to make everything kind of the same using floats, just so if down the road we don't have to change it floats. So we're just going to call float width and height, and in this case I'm going to set this equal to, width is going to be equal to 1960, and this is going to equal to 1080, which is just a 1080p window, which is what my monitor is. You can set this to anything you want, but that's just what I'm going to do. The next thing I'm going to do here is just call the f variable that we created up there to JFrame, and we're just going to call set visibility. All right, now if we set this to true, that will actually have we have a window now, but we want to set some other things, like for instance the title, and we're just going to pass through the title right here, and we'll just say Java game like so, or just no, actually we'll just say tutorial game. I can type game. All right, so tutorial game, and that's just the string, which is basically just a list of characters that we can put in for the title. Size, so how big the window is, we'll just do f.set size, and we'll pass the dimension. So this dimension d is going to be basically passed. And actually, the one thing that I forgot to do here is just do width and height, and that's basically going to set it up. And you can see it's erroring because it wants integers, so we're just going to cast it, just put brackets and int before the value, like so, and that clears up the errors. If I could have just set this as equal to int, but just to make everything consistent. We also want to do f.set default close operation, and we're just going to do exit on close, and it's going to add this dot window constants. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to on purposely delete it and do alt enter and import a static importation of this right here, which basically means I can get rid of that, and I just have to have this static importation, so I don't have to write as much code. We're going to do f.set location relative to, and we're going to do null. And what this does here is basically, actually no, we're going to get rid of that, because actually no, we'll leave it. What this does, null, is basically it's going to center the window in your screen. So right now it's just going to, like, it might spawn the window, if right now it would spawn the window here, but if I set it to null, it's going to spawn the window in the center. So that's what that does. That's basically it. There's some other things you can add, like instead of size, you can do preferred maximum minimum size. You can just do f dot and then scroll and see what else you can add. Like you can do resizable to false if you don't want them to resize it. Oh, actually, sorry, I forgot one more. There's one more. We'll do this like right here. And this is just me f dot. Actually, before we do that, I have to go up in here and have this pass in a canvas. We'll call it canvas C. So whenever I call the frame, I have to pass a canvas object, and we're going to do f.add, and we're just going to do C. We're going to add a canvas to the frame. And basically what a canvas is it's just a drawing kind of thing. About like if a painter has like a frame, a wooden frame, and then they put on a canvas, a white thing they paint on, that's the canvas. The J-frame is the frame out around the outside. You can't really do anything without a canvas, so that helps. So that's basically our frame class done, and we're going to go back to main, and what we're going to do is just call new frame, and that's going to error. So what we have to do is actually go into the graphics and create a new class. I'm going to call this graphics handler. So it's going to handle the graphics. And here we're just going to extend canvas like so, and that's all we need to do here. And what we're going to do is just going to call new graphics handler. And basically what's going to happen here, it's creating a new instance of the frame. So the new instance of a frame is going in to here and calling this constructor, it's called, and basically that gets called whenever a new instance of this class. We only ever need to create one instance of this, because that's just how it's going to work. We could have put all this code in the main or anywhere, but I like to do it that way. And then since we need to pass something, we're going to pass a new graphics handler, which is basically going to call the constructor from here. And I'm not gonna, So that's basically what that does. So right now, if I run the game, it's going to open up a window after a second, and you can see it's a big window. We can resize it if we want, but it's basically just a window. It's a blank window with a canvas in it, and we haven't done anything with it. But that's basically what that's what that does. And that's gonna be it for this episode. The next episode, I'm going to work on the graphics handler and get like things like the painting and the rendering and the updating of the game. So every set amount of time, it's going to update the code and render the graphics again and set up stuff like double buffering and stuff like that. So yeah, that'll be a fun episode. Stay tuned for that, and hope you guys all enjoy this episode of my Java game tutorial, and I'll see you guys all later.